Good grief, I need a haircut.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Exciting week around here in Tomtown. It's release week. On Tuesday, my two new books, my young adult novel Tagalong and my middle grade book Totally Unrelated, were released. And so that's really exciting. They're not my neither of them is my debut. My debut came out in 2012, way to go. And I will say that it's a little bit different to have follow-up books come out after you have gone through a debut year. I had a really great debut year, a great debut experience. I was living in the same city as my publisher at the time, in BC, and they had a big book launch along with a few other local authors. It was great. We did a reading, we had lots of food and some wine, and all sorts of friends and people that I knew showed up, and some people I didn't know, and I met some new readers, and that was really exciting. So what else is new about this year's launch compared to last year's launch? Well, like I said, last year I was a debut, and I was part of the Apocalypses group, who were a pretty big group. There must have been 150, at least 100 plus of us, mostly North American. There were a few people outside of North America, but we were young adult, middle grade, and picture book debut writers who were debuting our books in 2012. And so we had an online network. There were all sorts of great writers in there, and we met every Thursday for an online chat, and we helped each other on kind of a behind-the-scenes forum. We really rallied each other, and we promoted each other's books, and I'm still in touch with all those guys, and we're still helping each other promote our books. We're not quite as in touch as we were in the past. So whereas last year I had all these people who knew that my book was coming out and were out there signaling about it, that's not happening quite as much this year. So it's a little bit quieter, but that's okay because I'm on to new stuff. And as anybody who's written and published a book will tell you, by the time you get the book in your hand, you're pretty much done with it. You might not even really remember significant chunks of it. It's interesting when you release a book because by the time the book is on the shelves and you are hearing about people who are reading it and you get your copies, your author's copies in the mail, you are pretty removed from the book. By the time it shows up on your doorstep and people are getting it at bookstores and in the mail, it's been many months since I actually had anything to do with this book. It was edited over a period of several months. I mean, they accepted it over a year and a half ago, and then I went through a process of editing, and that takes a few months, and then after that it just kind of goes off into publishing world, and they take it and they do their design, and they proofread it, and they might send it back for a couple of things from me, but most of the process after editing is done happens far away from me, and I didn't have much to do with it. And so I do hope that some people enjoy these books. So far the reviews they've gotten have been pretty good, and so now I just sit back and wait, see what happens. In the meantime, I will be sending out the prize winners from last week tomorrow. Next week I'll be talking about a book that I love, and I will wait until next week to tell you why I'm talking about it and what that book is, but I'm so excited to talk about this book, and I have a really good reason to talk about it, and hopefully it'll turn some of you guys onto a book you might not have heard about. And other than that, I hope that everybody has a great weekend, and stay tuned because in a few weeks I'm going to have another contest. I have some more copies to give away, but I'm going to wait a while, see what happens out there in the real world, and then I'm going to throw some more out for people to pick up on. And in the meantime, happy Thursday! Have a great Friday and an even better weekend. See you next week.